I'm going to just ask you to start out talking about what is Canadian Mounted and how did you come up with the idea?
I'm gonna give you a clue, right? I'm gonna give you a clue. This is the clue. This is a visual clue, but it'll also be auditory. So if you're just
Okay.
listening to it, it's okay. I know you, don't I? I'm usually pretty good with names, but I'll be damned if I haven't forgotten yours. Or I tried to hail a cab on Park Avenue and you stole it. I've never stolen anything in my life. So this is the dialogue between John Candy and Steve Martin in the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Classic film, one of my favorite movies of all time. Came out in, well, 36 years ago, now that we're in 2023, but 35 years ago from when I launched the book, The Canadian Mounted. And the reason I shared that bit of dialogue is that John Candy, Canadian actor, was reading a novel, and in the script by John Hughes, the writer and director, it says he's reading a pornographic novel. And the pornographic novel that John Candy was reading, or Del Griffith was reading, was The Canadian Mounted. And it obviously was a cheeky reference to the fact that Candy was Canadian. It was meant to be a little throwaway prop thing. And I thought it was neat. I was always curious about that. Being a book nerd, every time I see a book in a film, I'm all over it like a cheap suit, right? I'm just really like, what's that book? Where's it from? I've even gone and read books that I found in movies. And then decades later, in one of the Deadpool movies, Wade, Ryan Reynolds, his character, has a book in his hand, and he jokingly says, "I'll be in the bathroom." And when you look at the book that he's holding, it's a slightly different version with this, clantily. So in the Canadian Mounted, there's a woman in a blue bikini, sort of on her hands and knees, like a Spider-Man pose almost on the front of the cover. And it's obviously an adult novel. The Deadpool one, it's a very similar woman in a slightly different, I think it's a green blue bikini, it's slightly different hair, but it says The Canadian Mounted. And I thought, wait a second, that's the same book.